Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
With terroristic threats made against the Mall of America in the Twin Cities, West Acres officials in South Fargo reached out asking if they too are a target. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Chris Heaton with the West Acres Mall says he called the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security as soon as he heard of the warnings.
Now, while both agencies report no credible threat to West Acres, the broader issue is terrorism. A report leaked from the Department of Homeland Security says homegrown terrorism is far more of an issue than anything foreign. Valley News Team's Bradford Eric talked with one local terrorism expert who says that's not quite true.
NDSU professor Dr. Jeff Baumgartner says the biggest threat is not so much from a terrorist organization as it is from the lone wolf type. Think Ted Kaczynski. And the scholar disagrees with the findings.
The DHS report characterizes this threat as far more dangerous than the threat from Islamic terrorism. And I would, in this day, in this climate, I mean, that just doesn't pass the common sense test.
He says foreign terrorism is real and it needs high priority.
There's dozens and dozens of cases currently open by the Justice Department dealing with people who have lent material support to ISIS, who have traveled abroad or attempted to travel abroad to fight with ISIS and to train with ISIS. And that's just one Islamic terrorist group.
He defines terrorism as violent action taken against innocent people or the government to further a political or ideological cause.
So then if you then take that sort of very loose definition and bring it to the domestic level, it would be those kinds of acts of violence, but that originate in our own country.
West Acres Mall officials say the close proximity to Minneapolis-St. Paul is what had them originally concerned, but they aren't doing anything differently in the wake of these threats made against the Mall of America. West Acres managers say, however, this is a great opportunity to continue to review their safety and security procedures. Reporting live at West Acres Mall, Bradford Eric, Valley News Live.
Bradford, thank you. Now, we called the FBI today to find out what they had to say. They want people to continue to go about their daily activities, but keep an eye out. If you see something out of place or not quite right, call police right away.
Just after the release of the Somali militant group's video calling for attacks on the Mall of America, security officials are now conducting lockdown drills there. After the deadly 2013 attack on the Westgate Mall in Kenya by members of the Al-Shabaab, Mall of America officials said lockdown drills are done on a monthly basis and are scheduled in advance. The videotaped threat by a purported member of the terrorist group mentioned the possibility of an attack at the Mall of America or major malls in Edmonton or London. A security officer at the MOA today said that the drills were scheduled a long time ago and are no big deal, calling the practice drills business as usual. Now, each drill was said to last 5 minutes and involved a number of officers and law enforcement dogs. We have breaking news for you now to report out of the Northern Valley. The Clearwater County Sheriff's Office is investigating a drive-by shooting near Bagley, Minnesota. Sheriff Darren Halverson tells Valley News Live the shooting happened about 3:30 this afternoon. No one was injured. Investigators are still looking into the circumstances around the drive-by shooting. We'll pass along more information as it becomes available.
Well, to our weather now. What a temperature swing that we've had today. Well below zero this morning and double-digit above zero late this afternoon. Let's get the latest on what to expect tonight. Hutch?
Well, the welcome warm weather is here, but it's coming with some gusty south winds. Those south winds also bringing more moisture into the picture, and we're seeing a few flakes of snow showing up on the radar. Even though when you look out your window, not a lot falling to the ground. Southeast North Dakota into west central Minnesota and Clay County is where the line of light snow is making its way to the south and east. This spreads all the way up through Pennington County, northern Clearwater County, and it'll be continuing to move in the southeasterly direction this evening. Look at your temperatures this evening. Steady to slowly rising in the FM area with gusty winds over 20 miles per hour at times. It looks like mild conditions continue this evening. The cold air is set to return. I'll have details on that and another shot of flaky weather in the forecast for some across the valley. Full details of your forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Hutch, thank you. Well, how much government regulation is too much? We've been telling you about the Grand Forks Council considering an ordinance to outlaw drink specials like 3-for-1s. Well, the council is taking some heat from bar owners. During last week's city council meeting, a bartender brought up that if drink specials are limited, What about limiting restaurant specials since obesity is such a huge problem? Now, you can find restaurant specials where you pay close to nothing, encouraging customers to eat more. But Councilman Dana Sandy is claiming that alcohol regulations will not spill over into the restaurant industry. He says they're only dealing with bars, which are regulated by liquor licenses.
I don't think this is a slippery slope. I don't think the two are related. I can't see, sure, maybe Michelle Obama wants to restrict what people can eat, what the students can eat in the Grand Forks Public Schools. That's the responsibility of the feds, not responsibility at the local level.
The issue is expected to heat up again next week. The public working session to further discuss this ordinance is scheduled to take place next week, right after the city council meeting. They'll also discuss another ordinance aimed at making homeowners more liable for underage drinking parties.
Millions of taxpayer dollars could be paid to a Moorhead woman for a mistake that North Dakota officials made more than 11 years ago. The state and federal prosecutors indicted Racing Service Inc. owner Susan Bala and also bankrupted the company on charges of running an illegal gambling operation and not paying taxes.
Ultimately, Bala spent 17 months in prison and the state took all the money from the business. But on Friday, the second highest court in the land announced the state was in the wrong when it closed the business and sent her to prison. In a story you'll only see here, Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop investigated what's next and how the state could make such a big mistake.
I mean, this is the most bizarre case I've ever seen of anything, bankruptcy or not, simply because it has gone one way for so many years and then just completely flipped. I mean, it's totally bizarre.
For longtime lawyer Bruce Schoenwald, he is amazed that the Racing Services Incorporated case ever happened. He says the North Dakota legislature made the first mistake.
To make a long story short, the screw up was in the legislation that began this process, but it was multiplied by the prosecutors and the Attorney General's office, who really didn't, I don't think, looked at this thing properly and ultimately lost the cases, both cases.
Bruce says the one positive thing to come from this case is that prosecutors should not rush to judgment, and he still wonders how a case like this could happen.
For some reason, there was overzealousness here that didn't pay off in the end. And I can't answer those. I mean, you'll have to ask, maybe you should ask the people that were involved, if you can.
I definitely plan to, definitely.
I'd be very interested to hear their comments on it, but we'll see.
North Dakota's Attorney General was Wayne Stenjum. He was the AG in 2003. The U.S. Attorney was Drew Wrigley, our current Lieutenant Governor. I reached out to both of them today. The Attorney General's secretary told me Stenjum was unavailable and would be in contact tomorrow. As for Lieutenant Governor, his spokesman said he was not sure if the Lieutenant Wrigley would speak on something that impacts another state office, even though he was in charge at the time. Mike, Stephanie, this case is now a waiting game as the bankruptcy court decides how much the state owes Susan Bala. Originally, it was over $5 million.
A very interesting case. Thank you, Ashley. Now, we'll continue to follow this story for you, so stay with Valley News Live for the latest on this and much more.
It's becoming the norm for Americans. By now, most of us are used to hearing about data breaches. In the last year and a half, more than 19 retailers have been hacked.
To most of these businesses, it's new to them, and they just don't realize the degree and the magnitude of the threat.
Tonight on Valley News Live 10 at 10, Ashley Bishop investigates how banks know when fraudulent charges are happening on your account and why the United States is seeing an influx of data breaches. If you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, here's some advice. Call the Whistleblower Hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. 701-237-6576. Call that number and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
The battle of the census kicked off on NDSU's campus again today, and every single penny counts. The battle pits the College of Pharmacy, Nursing, and Allied Sciences ambassadors against the College of Engineering ambassadors. It's a week-long fundraising event, and all that change collected during the competition counts positively toward each group's total, and paper bills, they're subtracted from each group's total. This year, all the money will go to Bryn Hamry. It's a 1-year-old who has undergone 2 open heart surgeries. Bryn is the daughter of Kelly Hamry, an NDSU senior lecturer of interior design. This is the 5th annual Battle of the Census.
The state of North Dakota has proposed new physical education standards and wants the public's opinion. The standards list physical skills that a young person should have at certain grade levels. For example, a second grader is expected to be able to run and kick a moving ball several times and catch a large ball with his or her hands.
We're hoping that schools will put together a comprehensive school physical activity plan, with Phi-Ed being the foundation of that plan, so that all kids will stay active in Phi-Ed and throughout their school day.
You can share your opinion on North Dakota's department's website. The deadline to submit is April 20th. Remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Well, still ahead for us at 6 o'clock, an MSUM professor honored in a big way.
A frigid start to our Monday, but we ended up above average. It looks like there's a chance of snow in the forecast as more cold air returns. Winds gusting to 40 today. All details what you can expect in your hour-by-hour forecast next.
You're watching Valley News Live on TV.